Hoops Hitting Gems podcast. I'm your host, David Jones. I want to thank everybody for coming and checking us out for the new podcast. It's a new era beginning. Remember, new slogans, One Georgia. Remember that. I got a new special guest for us, Brad Trainer from Central Point Christian Postgrad. One of the things that we wanted to do over the first 3 podcast shows, we wanted to make sure everybody gets a better understanding of what postgrads and how they actually work. And I brought Brad on since I met him a couple months ago, dropped a lot of knowledge on me, and I wanted to bring that to the listeners. So a lot of you parents that have been calling and asking me about postgrads, this is going to be one of the shows where you can get a better understanding what postgrads bring and what they can do. How you doing today, Brad?
Doing well, Dave. I appreciate your time.
Oh, man, no problem at all. No problem at all. So one of the big things about postgrads, as we've gotten really into this, just getting with you and talking about postgrads, tell me what you see with postgrads and how they help kids. It helps some kids and others, they don't really need it. So I want to get your view on that as well.
Sure. There's a lot of reasons why kids choose postgrad, first and foremost, whether it's academic or maybe they need to gain some weight or continue to develop their game. And then you have a lot of different levels of postgrad and postgrad programs that travel, some that don't travel quite so much. What the NCAA has said is in order for a Division I school to technically come out and watch you train or play or anything like that, you have to have an NCAA certified high school directly attached to your program. And a lot of people don't know that. And so there are postgrad programs where they don't have that piece to their program. So now Division I schools aren't really able to come watch practice or games or something like that because of that. So, just a lot of different, moving pieces and moving parts as far as why kids go postgrad, and also just different levels and options with postgrad as far as making sure it's the right situation for your son in the future.
Got you. So one of the things about success stories with postgrads, I've heard sometimes where kids come in with no offers and they get with certain postgrads and out of nowhere they blow up. Can you tell me some more about that?
Sure. A lot of times, we had experience with that. A lot of times kids with 0 offers, are international, maybe where they haven't been able to be seen quite as much. And that's an easiest route where you have a kid with 0 offers. He comes in like we did last year with Oscar Palmquist, who had 0 offers coming in, a 6'8" wing. And then within about a month's time had 8 high major offers. You've also had kids who at the end of the day, they've had, say, maybe a low major offer come into the program. And then after a little bit more exposure, maybe really kind of working on their game, or maybe even a coach in a postgrad level, kind of putting them in a different situation to be successful, kind of blowing up where they've been able to really showcase their talent to coaches. Again, for a multitude of reasons, a lot of times just more exposure than they've ever gotten before. The good thing about our program in particular is we are an elite high school program, so that already draws in a lot of coaches to come watch high school kids, and we always piggyback off that with our postgrad program, where we're going to make sure whenever a coach comes to watch a high school kid, who we have several high major kids, we put the postgrad kids in front of the coaches as well. That way they're getting a kind of equal exposure, and a lot of times opportunities that they weren't getting before that.
Okay, good. It's good to hear. So explain to me a little further in regards to postgrad. So how does your season start? Does it start in September, October? When does it end?
Sure. We get kids who come in, our start date usually beginning of September, and it was kind of based around the Division I calendar, which started again, like the first maybe week and a half of September. We want to make sure we had our guys there so that when college coaches came out, like the first day, and usually a ton of them come out the first day, that we're ready to go for practice. And, our original season is structured around the Division I recruiting calendar, which is usually September 9th or 10th until, the end of March. Most postgrad programs are kind of completing their season in February, the end of February. We want to keep our guys there a little bit longer and have an opportunity for coaches who come back again in the back end to be able to be seen as well.
Okay. So with that being said, especially with this year, and this year being a little tough due to COVID, how are you working around that this year, Brad?
So obviously COVID's affected everybody from high school seniors to post-grad kids to JUCO kids to everyone, with the additional year being granted. I think the way that I try and do my program and try and train my kids is, based on what I did as a pro and how I became a pro and how I was able to be successful at the higher level, and trying to implement a lot of that stuff to our kids and maybe not have been taught those things in the past, so that they're a little more ready for the next level, right off the jump, which is going to be the most important thing. Yeah, we try to teach our kids, how do you differentiate yourself from everybody else who's being recruited out there now, with high school and post grad kids and even JUCO kids. What do you do to differentiate yourself? And we try and prepare you for that. And a lot of times, our preparation is based on intensity and kind of thinking different things of the game and being able to show what you're able to do in a lot of different situations. Whereas maybe in the past, your high school or AU team is all about scoring, or trying to find a way to get a bucket, or bad basketball. We're trying to teach you to be a balanced player, defend first and foremost, as well. And then, make sure that you're making the right reads and right decisions. And it's not about, hey, well, I pass it to someone who can't score or can't shoot. It's about making the right decision, because next year you'll pass it to someone who can shoot and score. And you want to show the coach everything you can do, while he's watching you. And basically, what I try and do is tell them, hey, look, you got like a checklist. Coaches are watching you and they say, well, can you do X, Y, and Z? And you want to be able to check those off on his list when he's watching you play. The next thing is like body language, a lot of small things that kids don't understand how important they are. Body language, attitude, coachability, things of that nature that college coaches are really looking at on the back end, other than just being able to, again, play basketball and score, stuff like that. So we're trying to teach these kids all of those different aspects of the game, that we know are important, because, again, I've coached in college, Division I, II, NAI, and we get these calls from coaches all the time about those other things that aren't even necessarily basketball related. We want these kids to be well-rounded as far as, again, checking off those checklists.
One other big question that's important as well, the academic side. So explain to the listeners how, when they come to Postgrad, if they can make up classes, they can make up test scores. Explain that from a central point standpoint.
Sure. And again, everything is kind of wonky because of COVID, but in a normal situation, a normal time frame, you have one, during your post-grad year, your gap year, you can retake one core class during that gap year. Unless you have a learning disability or an IEP, you can retake 3 core classes, and you can do that to try and boost your GPA up. You can also retake the SAT or ACT as many times as you like to try and get the corresponding score to help you qualify. Other than that, there's no mandatory classes or anything like that can really help you academically for college, aside from pulling up your core GPA. I think this year with COVID, there's been some special COVID waivers that are available to every kid, as far as being able to take those classes and pull up your GPA. And then obviously they've thrown out the test altogether for the last year, and I believe this year as well. So it's just a little bit different. But again, in a normal circumstance, you can pull up your GPA with 1 core class from high school, or 3 if you have an IEP or learning disability.
So I just want to make sure we understand this correctly. All of your kids don't come to make up classes. Some are just coming to develop, correct?
Yeah. So we have Ivy League high academic kids who are here, like I was in high school, that just need to continue to grow, develop, maybe get stronger, put weight on, just maybe get a little bit more explosive. And we try and kind of hammer away at all those things for all those kids to give them the best opportunity to get recruited at a higher level, on top of the fact that, we are bringing in coaches at the end of the day. We are, giving them exposure they need. They are playing against higher level talent than a lot of times they've ever played against in the past. And they are learning the game from what I say and my other coaches and our high school staff say are pro level instruction, pro level theories, pro level way of playing, because that's what we did when we were playing professionally.
Okay. So what is your expectation when you bring in a kid from high school? What is your expectation? Does it vary, or do you have one core belief?
We have a core belief. I mean, obviously certain kids, it's just like when you train a kid, certain kids pick things up a little bit quicker. and can progress a little bit faster. Certain kids already have the body and the frame and the athleticism, and then the other things come a little bit faster. Certain kids have to have this skill set, but have to work on their athleticism, which sometimes takes a little bit of time. I try and keep it really simple. All I ask you to do is every day you come here and you show up to practice and the game, you just give whatever you got, 100% of whatever you have. Sometimes you're tired, so you don't have 100%. You have 75%. Just give all 75. And at the end of the day, if you do that, that will help you be the best player you can possibly be. Every player has a different ceiling. All we're trying to do is get you to be the best player you can be while you're here. Again, whether that's in the weight room, which is a strong focus for us, or on the floor and just giving maximum effort and intensity whilst playing. The other things, we'll put you in the training stuff. We'll work on ball handling. We'll work on shooting, things of that nature. We'll just, you're again, certain players can absorb more material, absorb more training than others. So, we focus on how do I just make each kid individually and our coaching staff, each player individually, the best player they can possibly be while they're here with us.
Good. Got a question from one of the listeners, Coach Huff out there at Voorhees. What's up, Huff? He's asking, how would you say Postgrads help 2020 and 2021 players with the new NCAA/NAIA rulings?
Well, the new rulings now, I'm assuming he's referring to like the additional year that they're granting the players to come back again next year. If I had to guess, was that kind of what he's getting at?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, it's kind of this, it still puts us in the same boat because, we're still essentially 2021 kids who are just like seniors in high school. I think, again, what the kids here need to do is just focus on how they can develop and try and separate themselves from everyone else. And it's going to be even more difficult this year than ever before because, you have potentially kids coming back to these college programs and there could be potentially less scholarship offers. So now I think more than ever, these kids have to really take this serious about how to effectively utilize their time, absorb the coaching, and get the most out of that training that they're getting here with the postgrad. The good thing about postgrad is when you take out school and kids can really just focus on training, and we try and go about 4 to 5 hours a day. We get them, they have the opportunity to really just bear down and focus on basketball stuff than having to worry, about being in class for 7 hours and trying to get a good hour and a half to 2 hours of training in daily.
Okay. Dr. Love brought up a quick little comment where he was saying Hargrave, IMG, Core 4, TSF, Brewster, Impact, Middle Georgia, and he's right. All those are good programs, and can't leave out Central Point as well. One of the things about this, we wanted to make sure we start bringing some of these quality postgrad programs up to Atlanta so people can see them. And we'll talk about that further down the line. But we're going to touch on Central Point for a little bit. Tell me about this year, what you have on your team, the guys you got coming.
So we have, obviously we have Perry Robinson, who's from the Atlanta area. Was at Kennesaw Mountain High School. Done a great job here. Had a lot of interest since leaving high school. We had a lot of things in place, and COVID just delayed it a little bit. But we're getting Perry on the right track to where he's able to do a little bit more things than he was asked to do in high school because he's just around a stronger supporting cast. We want him to kind of, again, when I talk about that checklist, show some of the coaches some of the other things that he can do besides just score the basketball, defend, rebound, work really hard, show his motor and intensity, and then also being able to create for other people because he's capable of that as well. So, he's doing really well. We have another player, 6'6", long arm, long lengthy kid, Ray Daniels from Las Vegas, who's doing really well. He's a very skilled player, can shoot the basketball really well, continue to develop, continue to get bigger and stronger, which is one of his deficiencies when he got here. And again, it's the same thing kind of with Perry. Both came from programs where they had a heavy burden scoring in the past, and now asking them to do a little bit more as far as making plays for others, grabbing rebounds. Sometimes it can be, hey, I want to show a coach how tough I am. I'm going to switch and guard a big, strong center. And how do you fight? No one's asking you as a guard to go and deny and lock them up. They just want to see how you can fight down there. And we're teaching kids, how to do that and how to have that attitude that, hey, coach, no matter what happens here, I just want to grind and compete and fight the best I can. That's all I can ask for. Another guard who played really, really well this weekend from South Carolina, great collegiate high school, was first team All-State. Taurus Watson is a 6'2", very strong left-handed kid, extremely athletic kid. And that fight that we talk about, that's him to a T. I mean, he's just a plain old dog. And whether it's on defense, on offense, tough, hard-nosed kid that I think a lot of people have missed out on. I think he's going to have a ton of opportunities just because he does that. He competes. And I know for myself and the coaches that I talk to, and also, from the perspective of a coach, and again, I'm the son of a coach. My dad's coached my whole life. Those kind of kids who compete are make up all the difference in maybe a deficiency in, shooting the basketball or something here and there, because they always have the ability to be in the play, have the ability to bring their team back in a game just by being a dog, like we talk about. And it's funny because so many kids out there, they don't have that level of competition. They don't understand how to be that way, how to compete and fight every possession. This kid gets it. And we have a couple of kids like that who get that as well. Derek Butler's done a very good job. He was at Quality Education in North Carolina, extremely athletic kid, very skilled kid as well. He fights and competes too. So there's a couple guards that do that. I have a skilled kid, 6'4" guard from Wisconsin, Cole Deptula. Extremely skilled, just needs to continue to work on his athleticism a little bit more, but skill-wise, easy a Division I player. Athletically, we got to get him there. And again, for him, it's sometimes understanding just how to give your maximum and compete and not be afraid. Maybe you get beat, but you don't quit on the play. You keep on fighting and competing, or there's a lot of ways to be a Division I player, and it's not just the highest jumping kid or the fastest kid. Sometimes it's the smartest kid.
And I wanted to touch on that, what you just said. So you said, you got a couple of D1s, and a lot of times when these kids are coming from certain situations where they're used to taking on the scoring load, how do you break it down to them to say, listen, you don't have to score all the time? What is it that you show them to say, hey, this is what scouts are looking for?
Sure. So, what we talk about is like, look, first and foremost, if you're going post-grad, 99.9% of the time, you're not going to go and be a scorer next year anyway. You're going to go and you're going to be a role player. It's great you can score, and you maybe need to score for your team to win a little bit now. But we can lose every single game. If I put every kid into college and I have 12 Division I players, that's a success for us. Winning isn't the most successful thing. So we try and teach these kids how to make what we call winning plays. Sometimes it's grabbing rebounds in traffic. Sometimes it's taking charges. Sometimes it's going and locking up a defender like you're going to have to do the following year. That's what we're trying to get kids to understand. I tell all these kids, listen, there's a reason why you're in postgrad. Okay? If you're an academic qualifier, the reason is you're deficient in something. You haven't proven what you can do in some aspect of your game, because almost every time people have seen you've been out there, you put AAU, you've had an opportunity for exposure. You got people calling on your behalf, talking to coaching on your behalf. There's something that you're not doing well, and we want you to be able to prove that to college coaches. What we tell kids, it's a lot like when you're trying to play in the league and scouts are coming out to watch. What they're doing, they're developing a checklist, not of what you can do, what you can't do. They're always like, oh, well, he can't, the first thing these coaches say and scouts say is, oh, we can't do this, this, and this. So what we want the kids to do is understand what they're going to say you cannot do, and let's address that and show them that you can do that. Everyone sees what you can do. We want to see what you can't do, work on those things, and prove to people that you're capable of handling those things as well. So we're teaching our kids those kind of things, those lessons to learn so that they can fully, again, showcase their talent. And a lot of times, again, it's not scoring, it's a multitude of other things. Look, if you want to prove to a coach you're a shooter, you don't have to shoot the ball 15 times. Like, I can see your shot. You can take 3 shots. I'm like, yeah, this kid can shoot. Kids get caught up and unfortunately AAU coaches and parents and stuff like that, they tell them, hey, you got to average 25 points a game or you're not going to get recruited. That's so untrue. I've had kids go high major as a guard who've averaged 4 points a game. So it's about doing all the other things. And like we talk about the winning plays. And again, at the end of the day, that's what college coaches care about, winning plays. Because guess what? Their job is on the line and they want to keep their job. And their job is solely contingent on winning games. And we tell all our kids those things as well.
One of the other things we want to touch on, Brad, Tell us about your schedule and the importance of schedules for postgrads.
Sure. So, if you're a really good post-grad team, like an IMG or, Skill Factory is really, really bumped up. Obviously you have the military ones. Playing against teams that are very talented is always good because it gives college coaches a good idea of how you'll do against higher level competition. And I think there are certain events that you kind of have to go to in a normal year, not now with a lot of these New England schools kind of shutting down altogether. In a normal year where you're going to go play against really good competition, that college coaches can always kind of come out and see you play and understand, hey, you're playing against elite players. So they know, hey, this is what he'll do against college level kids. So it's important. A lot of those events sometimes are in the New England area. We host a couple of them down here in Orlando. IMG always has good events. The Skill Factories had some good events in the past. There's good events in the military region, like the Virginia area. We try and take our kids up to, like, say, Scotland campus up in Pennsylvania because they've done a very good job. We want to try and get our kids in as many different geographic areas as possible to not only be in good events, but also with the understanding that even Division I schools have a certain budget to come and watch and recruit. So a New England school in a smaller level, a mid-major or a low major, they're not going to have the budget to come all the way down to see us. So we want to go up there in that region to give kids a good opportunity to be seen by them. As well as, what we host. Unfortunately, there just haven't been any really, really good events that I've seen on the West Coast or even in the middle of the country to be able to go that way. But fortunately for us, and I'm pretty well connected, I call those people on the West Coast all the time.
Gotcha. So what are you looking for as this year with COVID? I know it's throwing a wrinkle in a lot of your plans to travel. What are your plans for the remainder of the year, basically?
Well, we're going to make sure we're playing games for our kids, getting our kids as much video as possible. We always do some stuff where we create like a player profile for our guys so that even when they're not here, whether it be during the Christmas break or even when they're gone, which is frequent at the post-grad level, most kids don't sign before they leave your program. It's just the way it is, Obviously, early signing periods for some kids, a few sign early. Most of them sign late, and late signing period is after kids are gone anyway. And then you have lower level programs that you're signing kids all throughout even the summer. So it's important for us to create those profiles for kids and have that film for kids, throughout the course of the year. So they're in this year right now. What we're doing is the best we can to get as many events, as many games in as possible, to give the kids as many opportunities for film as possible. The tough situation with COVID is people are shutting down. I'm already getting word that NEPSAC schools and schools up in the New England area are sending their kids home now for the Christmas break and I don't know when they're coming back. The good, fortunate thing about a program like ours that's unique to everyone else, we have a national high school team who I think is probably like a top 25 team in the country. We have a regional high school team who has probably 5 to 6 former or future Division I players. So people can shut down all day long. I can just go and we can run official games, and we're actually going to do that here in a couple of days where we're playing official games, our post-grad versus our high school team who have legit Division I players, legit size, and then we can get good games and good film to be able to send out on our kids' behalf. So that way, when we can send out the college coaches, they can see good quality games for these kids and give our kids as much opportunity as possible to get films for the exposure when we're able to send that stuff out to college coaches.
Well, let me ask you this, and some good points being brought up. You have a backup plan if Florida decides to shut down or Georgia decides and you can't really get out? You have a backup plan?
If they shut down, like the kids got to go home, or they shut down, like our kids are just kind of stuck. You stay in here.
Yeah, restriction wise, more restrictions.
Yeah, well, if we're staying here, again, the fortunate thing with us, our high school we're a private high school. Unless they say all high schools are shut down and mandatory can't do anything, we can again play inter-program games all day long. We have our own facilities. It's out at our discretion. It's at our access, so we can kind of come and go as we please within our own facilities. Fortunately for our program, our kids are pretty isolated during the course of the day. We're not out and about in the city or the streets or anything like that. We're in our house and we go to practice and we kind of come back to the house. And the same thing happens for our high school team. So we have, again, that capability of, if things go wrong and start shutting down and we can't travel and play games, we can play games all day long within our program. Again, we have 5 teams to compete, 5 teams minimum to compete for our guys to get as much opportunity as possible for game film. And we try, and again, that's what it's all about. Right now, that's the only thing you can kind of ask for. We just want to make sure we have as many opportunities as possible for our guys to have film so they can have highlight film. And we also have as many opportunities for unedited kind of running game film as well, which is just as important as the highlight film.
Got another question coming in. What's up, Mr. Hurd, man? Appreciate you coming in. Do you guys concentrate on having direct relationships with certain schools and college coaches?
I have relationships with them, like coaches I played for or coaches I'm very close with. I'm pretty close with the Billy Donovan tree. Obviously, I played at UCF, so Johnny Dawkins and his staff I'm very close with. My father has coached my whole life. And I'm a 5-star guy, so I was there from the very beginning in the 80s when 5-star was huge. John Calipari roomed with my father at 5-star, from Calipari to Patino. You can go down the line. I try and create as many relationships with coaches at every level possible, just to find a way to network and be able to promote kids. And kids are available at every different level. So, I try and do the best I can to help kids at every level and help schools at every level with no one saying, hey, look, I'm going to help you over anyone else. Even though I have best friends at high major schools, and we have high major kids, it's still about the right fit for the kid. I always, let kids know the honest truth of, hey, this person is this kind of way, and this guy coaches this kind of way, and this is the system they run. And I put that then in the kids' hands after I give my opinion on what could be a good fit, and then I see what they enjoy and what they like. We never try and influence a kid in a particular direction that he's not comfortable with. We do want to help coaches that we like, because we know they're good people, and at the end of the day, that's what we care about more than anything, is a kid going to a program where a coach cares about them, loves them, and is a good person, and then will help further their career. And we are not biased in any way towards any one program, and that we just want to make sure every kid is in the best situation for them, and we're able to help every kid the best we can, which, by the way, doesn't stop after we put them in college. A lot of kids unfortunately these days want to transfer, so we're always here to help them with that process as well, and just help them. Again, we're here to help further a kid's career and further their life. And any way we can do that, we want to try and do that. And every situation is available. Everyone is open. We just want to make sure that, again, the kids are first priority.
Let me touch on one other thing, man, that I noticed about Central Point. One of the big things a lot of parents ask me about, and especially moms, they want to know, is their baby eating right, and are they eating, how these postgrads are feeding their kids. Touch on that for me, man.
Sure. So, I don't want to get into the other postgrads of what they do. I've been around the postgrad game for 7-8 years now, and seen 5 or 6 programs personally. I talk to guys. I talk to kids. I get calls from kids all the time who are unhappy with their decisions. So I have a good feeling and a good idea for what other people do. When I decided to do this with Central Point, I knew the things that were very important. And for me, the most important thing is, are you living well? Are you eating well? Are you traveling? Small things that are important to me, getting gear. We try and be first class. I want to try and be the best I can in the country as far as doing that. Now, can I be better than IMG? No, because I don't have the facilities that IMG has. But I can make sure my food is just as good as theirs. And actually, I've been told that quite possibly it is. Or a Montverde situation. I want to make sure that what I do, the things aside from the facilities, I'm able to do a better job than anybody else, and make sure my kids are well taken care of and they're happy here. Because there's nothing mandating a kid stay in your program. A kid can come to you and 2 weeks later say, I'm out. I don't like this, and this. I want to make sure at least the things, the living and the food, were first class. We eat all you can eat meals at the University of Central Florida. Unlimited options. There's usually 7 or 8 options every single meal. Unlimited food. I tell the kids, you guys can eat until you throw up, and then you can go back and eat some more if you want. We do that every day. We live in very, very nice homes. I would say we have $1 million home, an $800,000 home, and a $500,000 home that our kids live in, with a ton of space, pool homes, things of that nature. I think it's really important that For families investing money in their kids to go to Postgrad, they understand and realize that money being invested, it's not going into my pocket, it's not going into the school's pocket, it's going right back into their kids. So I feel it's very important that they live well and eat well so they can go back and focus on being a better basketball player every day. They shouldn't have to worry about how they're sleeping at night, or are they cramming 4 kids in a room, or are they not getting anything but hot dogs or pizza or whatever every single meal. We want to make sure that they're very comfortable in that way. For us, we provide our kids with $1,300 of gear. We're an official Adidas program. I try and get more gear for our kids than most college programs are going to get. So that's important to me. Again, the travel thing that we touched base on earlier, I want to make sure we travel and go play in events and stay in nice hotels when we do travel, so that our kids feel like, hey, Central Point has at least treated us in a first-class manner. With all the non-basketball stuff, the basketball stuff, I'm extremely confident. I hire guys who are former pros. I'm a former pro, former college coaches. So we got guys who are not just brand new to the game and trying to get in and kind of haven't seen it all. We want to get guys who are experienced here with us. And so the training aspect is very, very good as well. And we want to make sure our facilities are as good as we can provide. And we have right now, we have a 6-court facility that we're at, weight room all inclusive there, that we're training at every day as well. And then the final thing with our program in particular that's kind of unique is our high school team, again, is, as I touched on, is so good. And we have so many schools coming through to watch our high school players. Our staff with the high school team are all former pros, former AAU coaches, are very, very well connected as well. So we're able to kind of, as a collective group, help promote all of the players in our program from high school to Postgrad. And no one takes priority. We make sure, with our Postgrad program, player number 1 through player number 39 gets equal exposure, gets our undivided attention as far as helping them get into college.
So, and that's a good point you just brought up. And one of the big things I advocate for, how do you feel about your postgrads and NAI schools? Everybody knows, postgrads are looking, the D1s are looking for postgrad kids. But one of the things I'm starting to see now, especially with this transfer portal and other things like that, you're going to have D3 kids and NAI kids, but I haven't really seen postgrads really grab a hold of them yet. Tell me more about that, man.
I coach at the NAIA level. So, I'm very familiar with it. In my opinion, NAIAs haven't been kind of going after postgrads quite so hard. I think usually in my experience, when I was coaching there, an NAIA level program is trying to go get a kid who's been deficient, maybe academically, or even maybe something has some off the court issues. But they're a mid-major Division I kid. They're trying to get a steal in that fashion. So I haven't seen anyone at that level kind of attack the postgrad kids. But we're open to all levels. Like, I got no problem doing any of that. We got no problem sending kids to those levels as well. We're just we don't, again, at the end of the day, we want to find the best situation for every player. And just make sure that, again, when our kids go to school, is it a good academic institution where they're able to get a good job afterwards? Is it a good basketball situation? Is it a good coaching situation? Is their living and everything a good situation as well? We want to try and find the best opportunity for them in college. And, we don't differentiate between NAI, Division II, Division III. We try and get our kids to get as much scholarship money as possible, so that's as little out of pocket as possible following our program.
Okay, NAIs, you hear that. You hear it, NAIs. The doors is open to Central Point. One of the next questions from Mr. Hurd. He said, Coach, you mentioned you have a possibility of 5 teams. Approximately how many postgrad students do you guys have per year, and how many receive offers per year?
Sure. So we actually had only 3 postgrad teams, but the other 2 were high school teams, and the high school teams obviously consist of younger kids as well. We have some elite freshmen and sophomores on the high school team, but our 3 postgrad teams, we had 3 postgrad teams last year. Of the 3 postgrad teams, and we had, I think, a total of 33 kids. We put 27 into college of the 33. The ones that we didn't put into college, we had a couple kids that had a visa situation, so they had to go back to their home country. We're not able to. I'm not sure if they've even squared that away yet. We had a couple of kids who just stopped paying their tuition. And we are very fair, and I'm very open with parents. I tell them, you have to pay your full tuition in order for me to help you, because it's not fair for a family who's done that and met that financial obligation for me to take away from them to help you guys if you haven't finished your full financial obligation. So we had a few kids who weren't able to continue to afford the program, and so we weren't able to help them out. Now, granted, if I'm able to place all of my kids in school, and then on the back end I can help them out, then I still trying to help the kids out wherever we can. But financially, if families start saying us, well, hey, look, we're helping kids who don't finish their full tuition, then no one's going to finish their full tuition, obviously.
Okay.
And this year our goal, we got to get everyone to college. Again, everyone who finishes their tuition, we got to get everyone in there at some level. We got to get everyone in there, and our job is just to help get them to the best level for them, which is what I tell them every single summer when I'm recruiting. We want you to get to your best level for you. We're going to put you against the top competition. You can see what Division I level players are, Division II level players are. You can see exactly where you match up at the end of the day. And we're here to help get you better. And hopefully, hey, if we had 39 kids go Division I, I'm going to look like the best coach in the history of the planet. That's not going to happen, and that's okay. We're just going to try and find the best situation for each kid.
What you just saying that you just touched something. So are you a realist with these kids when they come in saying, well, I'm trying to go post-grad because I'm trying to go D1? And as soon as you see them and they're maybe D3 or maybe they're a lower level, do you break it down to them, or what is your thoughts? How do you approach that to a kid?
Sure. Well, I'm not a dream crusher, so I don't go and say, from day one, hey, you got no chance. I don't tell them that, and it's not my job to tell them that. It's my job to get them better, because you never know what anyone's progression is like. And again, I had kids I referenced a kid who averaged 4 points a game in the past with my program. I had him come here. He scored 4 points a game he averaged like 10 a game in high school. And 4 a game with us in postgrad. He had 0 Division I offers. And 1 second, my dog will not stop barking. Hold on, 1 second. Hey. Sorry. So yeah, he came in with 0 Division I offers in our program. We had a Division II walk-on offer. That was his only offer. And if I had him come in and said, well, hey, your only situation was a D2 walk-on spot, you're probably not going to be a Division I player, then he wouldn't be where he is right now. And he had 7 Division I offers following the end of the year after averaging 4 points a game. He's now at Ohio, was second or first team all-conference as a sophomore. His coaches are saying he's going to play in the NBA. So it's never my job to determine what level you're going to go to, especially not initially, not early.
Not early.
I usually wait. We'll wait and let them see, because I want them to play. I want them to have their own honest opinion too. Hey, this kid's a Division I player. How'd you play against him? How do you feel like you fared up? And a lot of times, they kind of take care of themselves, where the kids are able to see, hey, coach, maybe I'm not quite that good. But that doesn't mean you can't play basketball in college. That means maybe not that level. Also, again, there's just so many different ways to be able to be a Division I player. It's not all the scoring. Can you do something else? And I know, I have a lot of conversations with college coaches, and Division I coaches in particular. And they, I talk to these guys and I'm like, hey, look, why do you guys keep on recruiting someone who averaged 25 points a game in high school to be your 10th or 11th guy on your bench, and then wonder why he wants to transfer at the end of the year? Instead of going and getting a kid who's a dog on defense, he may average 4 points a game. But guess what? He's going to come in on your team. He's going to guard the best player. He's going to run through a brick wall if you ask him to, and he's going to be happy getting a shot or 2 a game. He's going to be happy being a Division I player, and he's a role-playing guy that's going to help you win games. So, and my point being, there are different schools that may have that kind of need, or may feel like that guy's a good fit for them, and they could be a Division I player because of that aspect. It's just it's always different for every player, every program, and we just want to make sure that we tell kids, hey, this is what it's going to take for you to play at that next level. This is what you need to do for your game in particular. I don't say, hey, look, you can't shoot the ball at all, but if you don't become a knockdown shooter, you're not going to play college basketball. Again, because there's a role for everybody. So we try and figure out what his role in particular is going to be at the next level, and how he can be successful at the next level and differentiate himself in that way, and then make him better in that way. And then in that different aspect. And then we say, okay, look, you've done this. This is what you've been able to accomplish in the year with us. Here's a level of people who are recruiting you or talking to you, or here's a level of people that I've talked to throughout the course of the year. And this is what they are telling me. So you understand. Now I can tell you, and I already know what they're going to say, but I also want you to understand this is what they're saying as well. And in a normal year, when coaches can come out in person, we have them. I like to have the coaches come and tell the kids, hey, look, this is what you're looking for in a player. And then when he's coming to recruit a particular kid, hey, what does this kid not do very well in your opinion that he needs to work on to be a better basketball player, to be more recruitable, and to guarantee your offer from you or whatever you're looking for in your program? And that way, kids are getting it from a third party, not just myself.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I like to hear. So I got another question from the audience. They want to know, what can we do to help the 2021 kids get more help with their decisions on the next level?
I'm sorry, you broke up. Get what with their decisions?
Sorry. What can we do to help the 2021 kids get more help with their decisions on the next level for college?
I mean, again, when I talk to these college coaches right now, a lot of them are just focused on getting their season going. And they're like, hey, I hope we have a season this year. These are Division I coaches, and I'm sure D2s are the same way. So I'm trying to navigate that right now to see exactly where they're at. Then we can get a good feel as far as who's open and who's available. And then, what we'll try and do is just talk to these kids about the reality of where college basketball is. And again, how they can navigate it and make their way, carve their way on the basketball climate in college basketball to again differentiate themselves and figure out their best situation. But it's an individual breakdown situation. My kids will tell you, I'm talking to my kids, pretty much every day, and whether it be on the phone or in person, and trying to help them with this situation in a normal year without even COVID, and see how we can figure out individually what's the best situation for each kid. Because there's no cookie cutter way for everybody. Everyone is different.
Gotcha.
It's just a lot of individual attention.
Gotcha. So basically, you're saying there's a possibility you may open up for April and have to do some things
to have the program in April here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're looking at that. So I'm there definitely looking into, we're waiting. First of all, we're waiting to see what the live recruiting period is going to be like. If the live period, it originally was January 1. I don't know if that's going to happen. If the live period is going to start April 1, which possibly could happen because they're going to wait for the tournament to happen because they can't lose another NCAA tournament. The NCAA can't afford to do that. If they say, hey, we're going to wait for the NCAA tournament to happen before we let coaches get out in person, then what we're going to do, we're going to have our kids stay here an additional month to be able to be seen by college coaches in person. We're doing everything we can to get live and in-person interaction by college coaches with our guys.
Okay. That's what I like to hear, man. Like I said, I already think you guys are a good quality program, Brad. So with that being said, for these 2022 kids that are looking at postgrads, what would you tell any parent what to look for in a postgrad? Well,
what I would do, and this is something that I kind of usually send in my emails and my contacted parents, I have a checklist and questions for these coaches for you to ask these programs. And when you go on a visit, I recommend always visiting so you can see it in person, because the unfortunate reality is sometimes you're not told the truth. Many times you're not told the truth. Let me rephrase that. I would have a checklist. One, who have you put in college? Where have they gone? What level? 2, coach, your background. 3, I want to see where you guys live. 4, how do you eat? 5, what is your season going to be like? Games, scheduling, things of that nature. 6, funny enough, what's your gear like? A lot of kids love the gear. A lot of parents do. I get it. No problem. And then I would say 7, just what's your plan to help promote my son? What's your basketball plan? Whether it's the training, how you play, things of that nature. What's your philosophy on playing and stuff like that? If anyone's watched our program, all of our guys are going to play. We get all of our guys playing time. You get a little bit more playing time if you just play harder. If you play to your maximum intensity level as 100%, you're going to play, and we're trying to split the playing time as evenly as possible. Some games are more, some games are less, based on injuries, based on maybe some days you're just having a great day. We want to keep you in the game a little bit longer. But we give all our guys playing time. Not all programs are like that. There are some programs where kids pay good money and they don't even play. I think that's a travesty. I think that's insane. So I would say if you have that checklist and you're able to ask those coaches those questions and get answers that you like, and also have it backed up when you see them and meet everything in person. Facilities is also one. You want to make sure you have adequate facilities to be able to train the right way as well. Once you have those answers and they're to your liking, then I think you found a program that's legitimate and it's going to be a good situation for your son, as well as obviously getting a feel for the staff, the coach, making sure that all your answers or all your questions are answered in a truthful manner. And you can usually determine that if it's truthful or not. There's no the kind of dodging of a question. It's always giving a straightforward answer and being consistent, especially if you ask the same question in a multitude of ways or at different times. That consistency is important as well. What I tell people, unfortunately, there is money in prep basketball, not nearly as much money as people think. There are programs where that financial portion of it is the most important thing for them. It's the most important thing for a program. And I think that's very difficult because these kids and these families are investing a lot of money. I appreciate it. I understand it. I understand the sacrifice. But I think some programs are just out to make some money and not much concern for the kids after that. And I think that's again another travesty for having those kind of thought process and that philosophy as far as their prep program goes. If you do things the right way, you're not going to make a whole lot doing this, but your reward will be in the kids and getting them into school and you're continuing to grow your program and be a reputable brand in the future.
And that's that's a good point you brought up. One of the things about this podcast was, this is going to be for the culture and this is going to be for the kids as well, because, it's not about the money. And like on Love the Game podcast yesterday, we had a coach come on and, he gave an excellent point to say, if you're a high school coach, you should be invested in this past just your season. You should be supporting at AAU games and all of that. And one of the things we wanted to bring to the forefront is we wanted to make this one Georgia for everybody. So we're supporting Atlanta, we're supporting South Atlanta, South Georgia, Macon, Augusta. We here this year. We here. We're trying to make this happen. And one of the big things for this podcast was from the Postgrad standpoint. Well, like we said, and Brad, I thought you guys do a good job down there. So that's why I asked you to come on the show. And at the end of the day, man, like I said, I understand you can't take everybody, but at least give some people some knowledge like you did tonight. And I appreciate you coming on. And, basically what I want to see at the end of the day is a lot of these postgrads be held to a standard. And you guys do a good job and hold a high standard down there, man. We appreciate you, man. Definitely.
Absolutely. I mean, I always feel like, hey, look, if it ever becomes about the money for me, I just need to leave. I need to be out of this business. If you're trying, there's certain sports that are money sports. Basketball is not one of them. Predominantly, the families whose kids play basketball are not high income families. So that's why I say, look, if you're going to coach basketball, you have to do it for the love of the game and the love of wanting to teach kids. If you want to make money, go coach lacrosse or something like that. It's a high income sport up in the New England area. They'll pay a ton of money. You can make money doing that. But with basketball, it's about helping out kids, helping them achieve their goals. And I try and impart and give a little bit of wisdom from my playing career, from my coaching career. And I've been there, done that. I want to also help these kids who are trying to navigate this process, which is extremely stressful, and understand, hey, this is how you can be the best you, which again is different for every kid as far as being a college player. So it's difficult, but we want to make sure that we're able to be here in many different ways to help these kids in their future and in these families who, again, are investing in them and have dreams for their kids as well. We take that very seriously.
And one last thing I wanted to touch, man, and I know you can touch on this. Everybody's path is different, man. And with everybody's path, being different, man. Just from a situation like my guy Deshaun. What's up, Deshaun? His path is definitely one of those paths that he's taken a well-traveled road to get to where he's about to get, man. Now, he had to go JUCO. He went to another school previous to the JUCO. Now he's about to blow up. As you say, man, a lot of kids that come post-grad, they've come from different roads, high, low, whatever the case may be. You don't always have that five-star kid. And, for you, you're about player development, man. So some of these kids get this opportunity in post-grad and they blow up, right?
Yep. Absolutely. So, the route's different for everybody. Again, I coach the junior college level, and I'm very, very close with pretty much everyone in the state of Florida. They're calling me all the time about kids. I deal with Georgia JUCOs, Kansas, Florida, Texas, up through Maryland. Some of my former teammates on the professional level are up at some JUCOs up there. At the end of the day, we try to understand what every kid's path is, and sometimes they got to go JUCO where academically they can't quite get it as far as being a Division I qualifier, but sometimes they're not quite there, not quite ready to go straight Division I, and maybe with one more year of development and then playing against junior college players who are usually a little bit stronger, more athletic, they can prove themselves and make it a little bit easier. I have, again, first of all, my team last year, we beat Eastern Florida State College, who's a top 5 JUCO program in the country, which is unheard of. Prep schools never beat JUCOs, almost never beat JUCOs. And we beat them last year. We got Florida Southwestern on the schedule this year. But I've got kids who went prep. They didn't have the looks they wanted, developed and got a little bit better, and then had a JUCO offer. One in particular, I know when I started DME Academy, name is Ahmad Clark, came from DeMatha, where he played a couple minutes a game at DeMatha. Came and played pretty well for us at the Postgrad program. Then went JUCO in St. Pete. When we went to St. Pete in Florida, he was a leading scorer in the state of Florida and went from having no offers to like 15 offers. So he just took that opportunity to continue to develop and grow his game and showcase his talent and not be angry with what his situation was or offers were, and just continue to, like we talked about earlier, fight and grind and continue to battle. There's no excuses, no pointing fingers, no going in the corner and crying because the situation isn't good. Just continue to fight and grind. And I think that's the only way to be successful in this sport and also in life. Hey, life throws a lot of curveballs your way. You're just gonna quit, or you're gonna try and fight and do everything you can.
Definitely, no question. Brad, man, I want to thank you for coming out, man. Definitely, definitely appreciate you. This has opened a lot of eyes for post-grads, not only in the Georgia area, Georgia, Florida. We already know about the net sacks, man. And, one of the other things, from a caution standpoint, there are a lot of post-grads that are popping up that are here today and gone tomorrow. And as you said, man, you got to vet out the good ones from the bad ones. And that's what we're trying to do on this podcast, man, just to get people to understand that post-grad basketball is some good basketball. And then at the end of the day, a parent and a kid got to make the best decision for them.
Sure. Now, what my one piece of advice and warning is, and you and I have talked about this in the past, it's much like anything, post-grad basketball is going to cost some money. And if you're going to sacrifice money and try and go with a cheaper option, you just have to understand that you're probably going to sacrifice something, because the numbers only add up. If you do things the right way, I know what our cost is to do things the right way, and you have to make sure you do things the right way. And obviously you have to cover that expense or else you can't continue the season. But for people out there who potentially are charging a little bit less, then the numbers dictate that you just have to provide a little bit less. And as long as parents understand that coming in and make that decision, understanding, hey, look, okay, maybe I don't get quite as much gear. Maybe we don't live quite as nice, but that's okay. I'll save the money. And they know that, then that's okay. The problem is, I think a lot of the parents and the kids say, I'm going to pay $5,000-$10,000 less, but I'm going to get the same product. And you're just simply not. The numbers just don't dictate that. And it's impossible to do so. And that's where they end up getting jammed up and getting frustrated because they felt like they were deceived. I don't know the pitch that the schools are providing to kids, but parents need to understand it's just like anything. Hey, You want to go and you want a Mercedes Benz, you can't go pay 10 grand. You're not getting a Mercedes. You know, that's okay. It's okay if you're driving a Kia. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but you can't expect to have a Mercedes Benz. That's all I'm saying. And, you know, again, it's not about taking the kids' money, because I know what we do. We try and go, you know, the profit margin is so low here. That's why I love Central Point, because they're not in this to make money. They're in this to not lose money, but basically break even, but provide a good product for kids who need these opportunities. And just, again, parents need to just be aware and understand, hey, when there's a really cheap post-credit option, it's cheap for a reason. As long as you know that going into it, then that's fine. Just make that decision, you know, based on your personal financial background. And we always understand that, but I just don't want that deception to happen, where kids get deceived in a month in the program. You know, now they're unhappy and parents have already lost money.
Exactly. Well, but at the end of the day, too, you know, one of the things I think is important is just to have a clear path of, you know, what you can give the kid and what the expectation is on both sides. Because I think some parents, you know, sometimes they're unrealistic, and, you know, unfortunately, you know, you got to deal with that as well. You know, they're thinking, oh, my kid's the best thing since sliced bread, but, you know, you have to be able to break it down to say, okay, this is what we're going to try and do for your kid, and, you know, be realistic. You know what I'm saying?
I think if you're not honest and deceptive, there's going to be a real unfavorable conversation, uncomfortable conversation that's going to take place in about a month or so into the program, versus just getting the kids to understand, the parents to understand, which we do from day one. We're here, and our main goal is just every kid, you be the best you can be every day. That's all we can ask for. I can't promise you X, Y, and Z. And I can call people all day long, and you can go name a school and I can call somebody. I probably know somebody there, but I can't promise you that situation. All we can do is say, you be the best you. I'll call everyone we can, and we'll get their opinion on you. And if they like you, then we'll continue to promote you. We'll push you, and we'll promote you. But we will be honest. I'm not going to go call. I can't go call a Division I school and say, hey, this kid's a phenomenal athlete, you can barely touch the rim. That's not going to work. And I lose all credibility in the future as well. So we'll be honest about our players, but you know, it's my job to make sure that when they leave this program, they're a better basketball player than when they came in.
Definitely. And that's one of the things here what we're trying to do in Georgia. You know, it's about helping these kids and building this network. And, you know, the amazing network we got in the Atlanta area, as well as Macon, Augusta, down in Savannah as well. You know, we just trying to bring it all together to give these kids maximum exposure. Shout out to Juke too, man. What's up, Juke? So, you know, like I said, man, Brad, I appreciate you coming on, man. You know, run the A1 program, man. Like I said, I'm sure. Well, matter of fact, you'll be up here this week. Matter of fact, right?
We'll be up here this weekend. Yeah, we'll be up in the Atlanta area this weekend playing in Georgia. It's Carolina Basketball Academy, but Georgia Basketball Academy's event up there.
So what, Friday,
I think
Saturday?
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's like a 3 or 4 day event. So we'll be there for a while. Again, just trying to get good film and good games in, get these kids to play the right way at the end of the day. And one of the other things I kind of forgot, and one of the things that was a really good situation with us and that we touched base on, obviously the whole point of post-grad basketball is exposure, is getting kids better, but also putting them in opportunities to be in front of people. I think the good thing with our program in particular, you know, the state of Florida is essentially blown up as far as recruiting wise goes. What I've been told, they have more kids go Division I as far as high school seniors or post-grad kids from the state of Florida than any other state in the country. High school basketball in general has gotten huge. The conference that our high school team in particular, SIAA, plays in, I know you got to have at least 6 Division I players. You're going to get your head beaten every night. You got Montverde, who's loaded with 12 Division I players every year. IMG is absolutely loaded. And now you start adding in some of these post-grad programs here as well. On top of the fact that you got some of the best junior colleges, in my opinion, in the country here in Florida. So that situation for us in particular is a great opportunity for college coaches to come through because they're already making a trip down to Florida. And people need to understand that as well. College coaches are going to go see and recruit and be in person with kids where they can make one trip, maybe one 10-day trip, and see a bunch of kids in one area. They're not going to take an individual trip one day. Just the budget doesn't make sense. Their time doesn't make sense. So the good thing about us being in Orlando, we're in the central hub. You got Montverde Academy, 20 minutes away, West Oaks, our high school. JUCO is an hour or so away. We're right in the middle. It's a great opportunity for a coach, whether he wants to go look at JUCO kids or high school kids or whatever, to be right here. And we are a definite stop for them, which is another huge aspect of our program as far as being able to recruit kids for the postgrad level in the future.
Gotcha. Hey, man, like I said, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. We're going to wrap it up with your interview, man. And, man, we appreciate you coming on the show, Brad. We'll see you. Matter of fact, you want to see Central Point this week? Hey, come on out to Atlanta in the Carolina Basketball Academy. See Central Point, and I think they got, about 8 to 10 other postgrads playing, Brad?
Yeah, that's what I've been told, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I know we'll pull up there and check you out, because a lot of these guys been itching to see what postgrad basketball is about. Some of them got to see you guys at Core 4, and some of them will get to see you for the first time as well, man. So I'm going to see you on Friday, man.
Absolutely. If anyone has questions and they're out there, come run me down. I'm here and available to talk to everybody. Again, I'm in this business to help kids out. If you talk to Coach Dave and he can give you my number, I'll take a phone call all day long to help these parents and these kids out.
Sounds like a plan, man. You take it easy, man. We appreciate you, man, for coming on, man.
Thanks, I appreciate you.
All right, take it there.
All right, take care.
So, hope that was somewhat informative. So as we continue this session with the Hoops Hitting Gems podcast, we're going to extend this in the future to even more past postgrad. Of course, we're going to touch AAU, we're going to touch high school, we're going to touch high school girls as well. So with that being said, this is shout out time, because there's some teams in Atlanta that go unnoticed, and I just wanted to show them some love. Definitely want to show some love to Lakeside's girls. Coach Morton over there does a tremendous job, and she's out there hustling and grinding. 2 of her girls just signed this past weekend, just committed and signed. Congratulations to Amaya Fortenberry, who's going to West Virginia State, and congratulations to Diamond Jackson going to Coker University. For people to say Lakeside who, that speaks a lot for that coach, for what she's doing over there. She really cares about them girls. Another person I wanted to shout out, hometown, definitely got to shout out my hometown, Pittsburgh, but definitely got to shout out a young lady, Nia Young, out of North Carolina. She lives in Raleigh. Just signed with UNC Charlotte, playing with the Carolina Flames, their EYBL team. Reason why I'm mentioning them, I caught them for a quick second. Every person on their team signed D1. I was like, I knew they were good, but when I saw, and not just D1, South Carolina, Wake Forest, North Carolina, UNC Charlotte, etc., just to let you know what type of basketball it is. And one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to bridge everything together on this show. With that being said, I'm being excited. We're going to come and do an unsigned segment. Possibly got a surprise for you as well when I link up with possibly somebody that everybody's been wanting me to link up with. And definitely, like I said, Georgia, we're going to put you on the map with the unsigned segment with a lot of coaches that we're going to bring in for this show. Next week, we got Lou Graham from T-Lap Sports Academy coming in. Like I said, I think it's my mission to put Georgia on the map with post-grad basketball. And don't think my local post-grads, I've not forgot about y'all. You will be on this show. So we're going to wrap this up for this portion of the show. And definitely, man, I thank you all for coming out. Man, like I said, Hoops Hitting Gems is here to stay. And thank you all for coming out, man. Love you.